the more technology advances, the greater number of women that will be with an ever decreasing number of men. I just got off the back of listening to a podcast, Jordan Peterson podcast with Glenn Lowry. The title of the podcast was The Uncomfortable Truth Behind Economic Inequality. Absolutely fascinating podcast. Please go and listen to that. It's just fresh off on his page right now. And they go into talking about a number of different things. The Pareto principle, the 80-20 principle. And Jordan Peterson makes a point that actually it's much more extreme than 80-20. He didn't give a figure, but it's much more extreme than 80-20. And the Pareto principle goes as follows, that 80% of your productivity is produced by 20% of your workforce. 80% of your results are produced by 20% of your efforts. 80% of your team, 20% of your team are producing 80% of your results. On and on and on and on. And the bigger the organization grows, the smaller the number of individuals who are contributing to the majority of the productivity in said organization. And this is across the board. If you have a look at prize money in tennis, the top 3 or 4 tennis players in the world are making more than the bottom 997 between each other. Just those top 3. Is that because of some type of unfairness or bias? No, and we can prove it. And he uses an excellent example, and it relates to you as a young man who's looking to get married. You really have to hone in on this and understand this, because today it is harder than ever to get married. As a young Muslim man, it is harder today than it has ever been to find yourself a Muslim wife. And I will explain to you why. And this is not a Muslim thing, by the way. This is across the board. It is harder for men in general to be able to find a spouse. And it's not their fault. It's a simple result of technological advancement. And I will explain to you. And the example I will give you is the example that I've just picked up off of this podcast from Jordan Peterson. And he explained that, or maybe it was Glenn Lowry, that back in the day, if you wanted to listen to an opera, you wanted to go to the opera, listen to the opera, prior to the invention of recording devices. If you wanted to hear the opera, you would have to travel to said location to listen to the opera. Now, the thing was that even the best opera singers in the world could only sing to a maximum audience of 2,000 to 3,000 people. Maximum. If the room got any bigger than that, it might distort the voice and so on. So the maximum sized audience that they could actually perform to was 2,000 to 3,000, which meant what? That the number 20 or the number 50 or the number 100 best opera singer in the world also had an opportunity to perform and make a decent living for himself. Why? Because if only 2,000 to 3,000 people can listen to the best guy, and there's no other way of listening to the opera other than traveling to an opera house, it means if I can't get into the house with 2,000 to 3,000 people because it's capped at that, then I'm going to go to the next best thing or the 20th next best thing, because that's the only other way I am going to be able to scratch my opera itch. That's the only way I'm going to be able to listen to it. But then what happened? The recording device was invented. Now suddenly, you can record wherever you want to, but in this example here, opera singers could record their operas on a record or a CD, cassette or a CD or a MP3 player, as we are now, and distribute this on a mass scale, which gives you as the listener what? Choice. And your choice is as follows. Either you can continue traveling to the opera house, listening to the 20th, 50th, 100th, 500th best opera singer in the world, who, by the way, would still be very good. The 500th best tennis player in the world is still an elite tennis player. Just you never heard of him. And he don't make no money. He still has to have a side hustle. But he's still elite. You just never heard of him. So either you travel to listen to this 500th best opera singer, or you buy the record, the CD, the MP3, you download from online of the very best opera singer in the world, and you listen to it on top of that in the comfort of your own home. Actually, you could take it a step further and say that it would probably sound better in your headphones, in your ears, than in the opera house. Anyone who's ever been to a concert will tell you that the music is better in the headphones and on the CD than it is in a concert, because they can't control for sound in a concert. They don't have the acoustic surrounding and so on to be able to make the sound as high quality as possible. All the fine adjustments and fine tunings and so on. Which means what now? Customers will vote with their feet. Customers will say, you know what? The 500th guy was good and all that, but I'm just going to listen to the best guy in the world. Which means what? Now the best guy makes all the money. Now the best guy, the very best dude, or the top 2 or 3 best dudes will make the most amount of money because of technological advancement. And how does this relate to you as a young man trying to find a wife? Mahdi, what's opera singing got to do with the price of fish, bruv? I've been fasting all day long, bruv. You get me, bruv? I've been fasting all day long. I'm hungry. Just give me the meat already. This is how it applies to you. Technological advancement today has made it so that the most desirable men on this planet are able to advertise themselves on a mass scale, and as a result of that have access to the majority of women, because women are voting with their feet. They're voting with their feet. Do you think that the likes of Dan Bilzerian or the Andrew Tates of the world have only existed recently? They have always existed throughout time. But just 150 years ago, the Dan Bilzerians and the Andrew Tates would have only been able to attract the attention of the women in their local village. Planes didn't exist 150 years ago. Cars didn't exist. Social media and the internet didn't exist. Radio didn't exist. So then what? How would the reputation of such men be able to get about? Just through word of mouth. How far can that go? Not too far. Maybe a couple of villages out, maybe even a city, maybe even the country, maybe. Point being is this, is that less women would have been aware of such men because of technology, lack of technological advancement. Now today, because of technology, as you guys know, as you already know, that women are having a look at the elite men online, the cream of the crop, and they're voting with their feet, and they are saying, I want him or no one. I want him or no one. Which provides the average Abdullahs of the world with a dilemma. And that dilemma is, I'm an average dude, but I still want to get married. What do I do, bruv? How can I get married? Help me out here. And I'm going to tell you, Bismillah. Once again, because of technology, now more than ever, it is difficult for you as a young man to be able to find yourself a decent woman, whether you're Muslim or not, whether it's in marriage or not. Because the attention has been skewed in favor of the best purely because of technological advancement. This is not just exclusive to relationships. This is unanimous rule for everything. The more efficient we become, the more the market rewards the best. Let me say that one more time. The more efficient we become through technological advancements, the more the market will reward the very best, point blank, period. Which means there's going to be a whole bunch of losers. And this is clear in what we see today. More men than ever are celibate. Men today than ever are celibate. I can't remember what percentage of men are still virgin by the age of 30, but it's a very high percentage. 30 or 40% of men living in the West are still virgin by the age of 30. This is a recipe for civil unrest. This is a recipe for disaster. So what's the solution? Well, the obvious solution is you need to become a top tier man. That's the obvious thing. You've heard it before. Level up, game, finances, blah, blah, blah. And that is the sad truth. That is the sad truth. If you don't like it, I can't help you. It is what it is. But I'm going to give you more practical advice than that. Women measure status in a number of different ways. And it is true that if you are taller than average as a man, if you are blessed in the looks department, if you have a good physique, You automatically put yourself in those top tiers. Less than 10% of men are over 6 foot. Less than 2% of men are over the height of 6'3". Automatically, you're in top tier by virtue of your genetic gifts. Period. But let's say you're not 6 foot, or you're not 6'3", and you're not naturally blessed with height. Well, I've got news for you, bro. You can't be average or below average in height, and low to no status, and an average earner, and fat or out of shape. That's too many struggles, bro. Too many struggles. The first thing you can do is get your fat ass into the gym and start training. Why don't you have a six-pack? Please tell me, why don't you have a six-pack? I'm not saying to have a six-pack because of purely for the sake of being able to tell people, hey, look, I've got a six-pack. No, because having a six-pack is testament to something, that you are in shape. 80% of people are overweight in the world today. 80% in the Western world of people are overweight. Just by virtue of you being in shape, you put yourself in the top 20%. You have found a way to put yourself in the top tier of men. By virtue of you being in shape and having a freaking six-pack. Because that is testament to you being in shape, not being fat. Take care of your health. Work hard on your craft and whatever it is that you are doing. If you're not naturally blessed in the looks department, no problem. Do your best with what you have. Dress well. Take care of your appearance. Don't look disheveled like I'm looking right now. Take care of yourself. Do the best with what you have. And of course, above and beyond everything, be exceptional in your deen and your religion. This goes without saying as a Muslim man. But I'm speaking to men generally, not just as a Muslim man. You need to find creative ways to distinguish yourself, because I will say it once again, and I will conclude this video with how I started it. And before I give you my conclusion, do your boy a solid and hit the like, and make sure you sub the channel and share this video with someone as well, because the more technology advances, the more women will choose as a whole to be with the minority of men. Translation: the less men the average everyday man will have as an opportunity to be with a woman. Level up or die alone.